When someone's beginning to use SureSmile or investigating the possibility of using SureSmile, a question that often comes up is, how long will it take me to do a case? The answer to that is it all depends. For instance, I do a simulation for every case I submit. I do a little more work with each case, therefore it takes me maybe a little bit longer, but it really doesn't have to. It can only take a few minutes. The main thing is your communication with the digital lab, and SureSmile sets you up to do that. We use the acronym MACROS, standing for midline, arch form, classification, reference teeth, occlusal plane, and any special instructions. And as long as you fill that out and submit that to SureSmile, you will get a nice plan back from the digital lab. So it really depends upon how far in depth you want to go in setting up your cases. Let's just use this case as an example. This is a random case we're going to look at. There are a couple things that I see just off the bat in this composite photo. One is I see a reverse smile line here that I want to correct. Okay, and a little midline discrepancy, moderate overbite, a little bit class 2-ish and some spacing over here. I can use that spacing to correct my midline. I can also use some class 2 elastics, but I'm not going to depend upon elastics to correct the midline because I have the space. And so I know what I want to do with this case. So what I do is we go to the SureSmile software. Now this is the new version of 7.0. This is the way it looks. It's great. It's easy to move around. This is on the internet. It's in the cloud, so you can do this anywhere, at home, at the office, on vacation. So in this particular case, we'll go down to midline, first part of the macros. And for this particular patient, I'm not going to do any global movements. I'll just do dental movements. And as you remember, we have spacing and we have a little midline discrepancy in the upper, and I'm going to use that space management, to correct the midline. So I usually just indicate that to the digital lab. I usually type a note that says dental movements will be used to correct midline. Okay. Going further, move on to the arch form. I have, in my preferences, I use the Damon arch form. You can use any form you want. You can go into your preferences and select any arch form, and it will automatically come up. I use usually the 6s and 3s, and I indicate that. I use the Damon arch form again. In this particular case, I think the jaws are a little bit narrow, so I want to expand those a little bit. So I usually send the note to the digital lab saying those reference teeth may be altered for the best occlusion and or aesthetics. I give them a little leeway there. Also, please expand arches for the best result. So it gives our digital lab a little leeway to make a correction. Moving on to the classification and references, I know that we're going to be a little class 2, and I know that we're going to want to correct that using elastics, so I indicate that with global movements, class 2 elastics, and also know that some of our teeth maybe are not positioned ideally for a good class 1 occlusion, so I know I'm going to do some rotation angulation movements, and I just indicate that to the digital lab. Use both global and dental movements for classification. Okay, you can also do a lot of different things. If this patient had a high mandibular plane angle, I might say leave the second molars out of occlusion, things like that as far as any kind of correction. The references just kind of gives us an idea of what is a baseline for our root parallelism. Which teeth have the best root position? I usually indicate my 6s, and I do give the digital lab a little leeway to alter those. However, some people just stick by, once they indicate a reference tooth, they don't allow it to be moved. But I'm going to tell the digital lab it can be altered for the best occlusion and or aesthetics. Okay. Okay. Now you don't have to do notes, but I usually do just to make sure that the message is clear. Moving on to the occlusal plane, I usually indicate my occlusal plane defined by the sixes and the lower incisors, and I usually use the lower. Now on the curve of speed, I know I want to level that by a combination of things. I know since I'm going to extrude the upper incisors for a better smile line that I'll probably have to intrude the lower incisors, and I know that I'm probably going to open the bite a little bit with some bicuspid extrusion, so I'm going to indicate that to the lab. Okay, so bicuspid extrusion, and okay, please extrude the upper incisors for the best smile. And we can get into smile arcs and lines and things like that, but this is all what you want to do. Okay, and then in special instructions, I usually say, just please follow macros. Okay, sorry. And just kind of review, please extrude upper incisors for the best smile, and expand arches. And I usually work with Morgan at the Digital Lab. Okay, so I always thank her because she's a member of our team, I feel. And I always say if you have any questions, just email me. Okay, so then we can go from here. We can go to our plan. When that comes up, now if you've done a simulation, you obviously can attach that simulation to the plan, but this is our plan. We can press submit, and that will automatically send our information to Aurametrics, and you can get the whole process started. You can label your plan, of course, and we're not going to submit right now. There's some more I would do on this case, but pretty much you're done. And we're at about 8-minute mark, and of course I've had to do some backspaces. I'm not the best keyboardist in the world, and I will tell you, you can delegate a lot of this to a reliable person in your office. Melissa in our office sets up my simulation. She knows how I want the smile lines. She knows how the occlusion is and how we work to correct that, and so she gets things started. I go in and fine tune, and then our case is done. So I urge you to delegate that responsibility to someone, or you can do it all yourself. I kind of get into working up cases, and it's really not that bad nor that time consuming. Plus with the cloud on 7.0, you'll be able to do it anywhere you want. So I urge you to really dive in deep, investigate different ways to improve your efficiency of working up these cases, and use other personnel to help you. And we're under 9 minutes, and so that's not too bad. If you do 3 a day, you're only spending a half hour in there. So good luck, and I hope you enjoy your experience.